Alright, so, this is my file. This is the very first day I was there, September 13th, 2022. And again, this is my file, and there is literally nothing in here but intake forms. There is nothing in here. Nothing. Shelly said that she took the mean parts out. Well, it looks to me like everything except for the fucking intake forms. Everything but the intake forms. There's one post-it note about James Murphy. Now, this isn't the first time I went in about James Murphy. I went in about James Murphy in 2022 and 2023. Not that it matters. They didn't do anything. So, of course, Sean Hubert lied to me when he said he would get me my file. It's pretty windy outside. This place is shaking a bit. It's probably going to be too loud to record all of it. By the way, we did not get the phone call accomplished today. No, Russell's going to wait until after Christmas, apparently. His boss, and I'm about to play that conversation with you, is fucking neck deep already. He's already neck deep in helping the people that he works with to get away with the crimes that they committed. Going out of his way to pretend like he doesn't know the laws, doesn't know the rules. He admits that they are part of social services, which means that everyone there is a mandatory reporter. That means everybody. Everyone. If you work for the Department of Health and Human Services, if you are a social services worker, you are a mandatory reporter. Now, this guy wants to go out of his way to play as stupid as possible. Now, of course, there's a lot of stuff that Russell verifies. Russell is absolutely able to verify that because unlike Shelley, he took a look. Now, his boss is a world-class piece of work. We'll start playing this video. The reality here is I'm being victimized for turning in the bad guys. You guys want to pretend that just because they have a badge, they must be a good guy. You know, Officer Waylon Lolatai lost his job in Denver for assaulting an inmate. Then he went to Boulder and he assaulted me. And then after he assaulted me, he assaulted 6 more people. 2 of the officers I had to deal with went to prison for manslaughter. You don't want to hear that. You just pretend that that's a schizophrenic delusion. Meanwhile, I got to try to turn this stuff in. I'm a homeless person. I am a homeless person. They don't care about my disabilities. They are not going to follow the law. The only time they're going to pretend to care about my disabilities is when I have to turn them in and they start pretending like I'm schizophrenic and delusional and trying to find some rubber stamp that'll put that on paper for them.
That's for you. I'd have to give that to you. As you requested, I guess.
We'll get this as close to the speaker as possible.
So I obviously got a lot of evidence. I've been able to catch the tip of the iceberg. Also with being sent to mandatory reporters who sent me to people who are not mandatory reporters, and I'm stuck with people who aren't trained. And then of course I'm sent around all these places because they're supposed to be mandatory reporters. I do have several of my psychological evaluations. I've seen you already showed all of those to me. There's like I've got a little bag of stuff here. Some of the people who assaulted show the number of assaults. It's very real. I can't go to the police. They've assaulted me repeatedly. I've tried going to mandatory reporters. Every place that there is here, I've brought things that they've been saying and doing are untrue. They're also illegal, but not having anybody who's trained as a mandatory reporter kind of makes it complicated.
Okay.
I get given instructions and I follow the instructions. It eats up all my time, it eats up all my resources, and it doesn't take into account at all my disabilities. And there's a situation where obviously you've seen it, but you're not a mandatory reporter. And then there's a situation that gets done with Shelley. Shelley hasn't done anything. Like, if she's not sick, then she's double booked or triple booked, or she leaves right before I get here. And the thing is, I've been trying to live in since well before you started working here. This situation has happened.
There's what you requested. I actually did that all to you. That's everything in your file or whatever. I guess I was handed that.
So here, look at the number. What do you call it? That picture that I was talking about. So a couple of months ago, Miss Shelley said that she went through my file and destroyed all of the mean stuff in it. And then she found that picture in a drawer, and then she had destroyed that too. And that's literally not what I asked her to do. The other thing is, there's the pieces of paper that I brought in to show you, and then we were going to finish that, but then you ended up working up there. I don't blame you for that, but the situation is really screwed up. Let's see if we have this stuff. No, they don't, apparently. Remember the paperwork that I brought in from TFCC? I was trying to show you. So Miss Shelley, I gave it to her, and it's not in here, but I gave it to her as evidence of abuse. She did tell me that she was a mandatory reporter. I brought files and files and files that show that TFCC, CARE, the police were all aware that I am not schizophrenic.
This is all the intakes, I guess.
And all other situations real. This is all you guys got.
I don't know. I didn't.
I'm going to go through these, and thank you very much for that, Russell. I am going to show you the message from Miss Shelley. I have been sent back and forth between all of these different agencies since 2022. The assaults are by the same groups of people, and they're obviously
I'm all aware of that, yeah.
So, a mandatory reporter here, you're a witness, not a mandatory reporter. As far as the police go, since they took part in it, there is a lot of evidence of that. And I get back and I have the list of mandatory reporters, and having a mandatory reporter here would help, because they should be aware of what the laws are. Also, I did go over multiple of the mandatory reporter training videos last night. Just to brush up on it, and I also brushed up on Oregon law, which I've had to do since I got here. Laws keep changing. As far as the housing thing goes, the first thing I was sent here for was just for a room that I could use for a couple hours so that I could have a safe environment to do it in. I was sent to the library repeatedly, and I've been vandalized and victimized, assaulted, and threatened at the library repeatedly. Let me see.
While you're doing that, I gotta go look for the number. Oh, shoot, sorry.
Sir, how you doing?
I'll be right back. I gotta look for phone number. I need,
Yes, sir.
I'll be right back.
pause this for a second. So, I was supposed to have a court date with Natalie Bollinger on 12/22/2017. That was 8 years ago today. 8 years ago today, I was too broke to go to that. And I didn't even know that it existed. I didn't even know that I had a court date. And the people who were supposed to help me out, I was sent around to mental health, mental health, mental health. Mental health is not helping me in any of that. They don't care no matter where I go. The problem with having to go to any of the resources in Tillamook County is that they found a way to make a lot of money off of doing jack shit.
They go back to 2024. Doesn't say which worker I worked with. I've been here since 2022. There's one from 2022.
Yeah. On the back side of one of these, it says, I don't know if you double gas these. See what the initials are on the back of the report here, which services rendered, what we did. My bill to figure out who it is. No, we can't. Right here, see the service provided by, they have their initial, they don't recognize them.
So that's one of the things that sucks, is that identifying people based on a circle, or a bad circle in that case. Yeah, we're gonna identify who that person is. So this is my whole file, it doesn't have.
Well, I mean, it's the intakes out of the file, I guess.
That's literally all it is the intake.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't do it, so I have no idea.
Do you know who did?
I have no idea who, this was on my desk. I was asked to give that to you.
Okay, so there's literally everything is missing. Everything that I brought in, everything that I showed Shelly, all of the information about why I came in. This is why I have a YouTube channel that's full of the voices of people who work at CARE committing crimes. This situation is not okay.
It's also full of other victims. One of the other victims told me a short bit of his story. I have permission to post it, and I'll post it after this. When I first met the man, he was able to speak and he was able to walk pretty well. He says his name, but because he had a stroke, he can't say it very well. Shelly wasted 3 months of my time. She wasted 5 months of his, pawned him off on someone else. We're out here being victimized for existing. This is not okay.
Okay, now right here you can see I did message her. This is one of the things that, oh well, if you didn't message them and let them know what's going on, well, alright, I'll message them and let them know what's going on. Here I'm talking about the abuse and the mean stuff that, she destroyed that is evidence. And I got a bunch of intakes. That's what I've got to work with. She wrote back to me, Sean, you asked for your care file. It wasn't me you asked. As far as the photo that you were referring to, that was absolutely shredded quite some time ago. I wanted to help you get an
By the way, they haven't gotten an apartment. I don't have an apartment. Russell was working on that. We were working on that. You can hear in this, although there's a discrepancy about, what happened to the two of the applications. Well, all of the applications. I have the two that he gave back to me. Let me make sure my social security number isn't on it. So yeah, I got one application here for Holden Creek, and I have one for the Willett Apartments. The phone number for them to contact us is Russell's work number. The email addresses that we used was Russell's email, because like I said, mine doesn't work until I pay money that I need to have the money to do that. And I also have to have somebody teach me how to do that. It's difficult. People expect me to know these things just because of my age. While you guys got to mess around with all this technology, what I was busy messing around with was making sure that I protected myself and the other people around me. So, like I said, there was two of them at a time that we were doing, and he admits that too. He says so we don't get overwhelmed, and that's exactly how it went down. I have two of them. This is sent on 8/8/25, which means August 8th of this year. And then there's the second one. Same thing, 8/8 of this year. So like I said, there was two of them that I had to take in there, and he gave them back. Matter of fact, I think he actually gave me the originals that he had sent off to begin with. So there's a possibility that if they have any, they have a copy of the original that was sent, which means that it won't match up with this one. Either that or this is the original that they had sent, and he switched them while he was going back to check, which I'm not going to say that he did on purpose. He just doesn't seem like that kind of a guy, but at the same time, I don't know him all that well. I know that he's a guy, so he understands this stuff a little bit better. I also know that Sean Hubert, he's a guy, and you're going to get to hear him in this. He does the same thing everyone else does the runaround and tries to make any excuse not to do his job, even if that means that he has to change the situation into something that it's not. Even if he has to invent and pretend a situation where he can twist and manipulate it into something where he doesn't have to do anything, that's what he's going to do. Obviously, the mandatory reporter laws are something that he's just going to talk over. If you guys watched the mandatory reporter video that I posted up here, it's only one of them, by the way. There's a lot of them. You'll realize that, yeah, morally and legally speaking, this man is breaking the law already. Also, if they're social workers, they're through the Department of Health and Human Services, and they're overseeing that, then yes, everybody under them is a mandatory reporter by proxy. This is the situation that they keep trying to play. Anybody who works there can do this, and then they pawn me off on peer support, and then they say peer support aren't mandated reporters, and then some of us are, and then some of us aren't, and then of course there's a person in charge of those people who tells them not to do their job, which results in more abuse. And we're going to get to hear Sean in this video. He is nice. He talks nice. You can tell he talks nice. And I talk nice as best that I can given the circumstances. And you can tell that. But it was inappropriate for him not to do something about Miss Shelley and Melissa. It's also inappropriate for him to look the other way or to waste the time that he could spend learning to talk over me and lie to me. Outright lie to me like I'm a fucking moron.
Since you left, literally all she has done is, in every single meeting, if she shows up, then the first part is that she tells me, we got to work on housing. And I tell her again, well, I filled that stuff out with Russ. And she says, I'll talk to him.
We did three apps, and
I thought we did 6 altogether, 2 by 2 by 2.
we were gonna, but then there was days that you just wanted to show me. I had the app, but you didn't want to do it. You were showing me stuff on your phone.
Now, here's the thing where, no, it wasn't that he had the applications and I didn't want to do it. That absolutely wasn't the situation. And here's the thing with me trying to work with Russell, at the same time, he doesn't want to get in trouble. The thing is that he didn't do anything wrong here, and we did do 6 applications. I have 2 of them. Now, the other stuff that he's saying, I am trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, hoping that he's not going to keep on digging a hole like this. I like the guy. I also need his help because he is a witness. And throughout this video, you'll hear him admitting that, yes, he saw this stuff already. He knows that this stuff exists. He's aware of that picture, and he states that it was here for a long time. Like, obviously it was here for a long time. I stated that. You know, he also says in this that there was pictures of 3 people in it. I'm going to pause this for a second. Okay, so this bag right here, you see how big my hand is, completely spread out? That's not a small bag. I'm sorry, let me move this over so you can see that it's not a small bag. It's not easy for me to carry. It's not easy for me to walk down there with. It is full of evidence that is evidence of the actual crimes against me, evidence that all of these places knew that I was telling the truth. All of them knew that I was telling the truth before they continued to work together to try to pretend that these were delusions. All they're interested in doing is making me jump through a bunch of hoops and waste what resources I have. This forces me to rely on drug addicts. Meanwhile, I had a guy who was supposed to help me, and I've had 3 homeless people already tell me that this guy stole my wallet and some other stuff from me. Now, I haven't accused him of stealing anything. I've been looking through here trying to find my stuff. I've been going to all the places where I possibly could have left it, even though I remember specifically where I put it. So I've been running around trying to find my wallet. I got homeless people telling me that somebody stole it. And this is what happens when I have to rely on these. I have literally dozens of videos of people that were homeless that I tried to help out that stole my things, stole my computers, stole my phones. Phones full of evidence that is irrecoverable. And a lot of you guys say, oh, well, you know, they can find anything on those phones. Well, here's the thing. They have to have the fucking phone to do it. If somebody steals the actual phone, yeah, they can trace the phone calls, and they can also show that there was a message sent, but they don't know what it says until they unlock the phone. And of course, everybody knows better than me because I'm an idiot, right? So I hear directly from the source, and then I come and tell, well, people who talk to me like I'm fucking retarded. That's the difference between people before I was disabled and after. Afterwards, any excuse is a good enough excuse to pretend I don't exist. Now, there's grievance after grievance that I've filled out. Okay, there is a bunch in here. There's also their own paperwork. Their own paperwork is what got them busted. And I got all these people that when there's a situation, like for right now with my wallet missing, I don't have an ID. I don't have an ID right now. I can't do shit. Happy Christmas. Okay? And then, in addition to not having an ID, my food stamp card, which I need help with that stuff too, but I don't have that help. Meanwhile, my food stamp card is gone. There's only like $8 on it, no biggie, right? And then there's my debit card for the bank. And of course, that's set up with Russell's information as well. I'm entirely dependent on Russell. So anything that he says, I am having to give him the benefit of the doubt on, despite the fact that the evidence that I have is different. But it's a situation where obviously he is a witness. He is verifying that he's a witness. The other thing is that he is aware that he's being recorded. He's aware that it's going on YouTube. He is very well aware of all of these things. Now I got this bag that's full of, well, like for example, some of my medical crap. Let's take a look at this. What was this one? Discharge diagnosis. Head injury, 5/14/2024. Yep. What was that head injury from? Well, that was from somebody the day I got out of the hospital, smacking me in the head with something. I don't know what it was. I didn't see it coming. If I'd have seen it coming, I'd have ducked. But yeah, this bag is full. You know, this is just the stuff that I went, all right, I have to have at least that. This one right here, for example, these are messages between, these are messages that, like I said, Christina Lugal was the only person who took this shit seriously. Eunice Paisner was useless. These are the threats against my life. These are verified. This is through a dude who does forensics on telephones specifically. All right, so this is absolutely verified, absolutely verifiable in the future as well. And there's a bunch more evidence. This is the stuff that was on my phones. Message after message after message. Of things that the care people wanted to pretend were delusions. Things that the TFCC people continue to try pretending are delusions. And of course, the paperwork that I gave Miss Shelley and the deal that we made in order for her to get those pieces of paper, because they are evidence of crimes committed by TFCC workers, was that she was going to sit down and review them with me. Has she reviewed them with me? No, she hasn't. And is it in my file? No, it's not. The only thing there is intake forms and one little post-it note with Officer something or other's fucking card. And I'm sorry I said something or other with such attitude, but like, I don't know how to pronounce the dude's last name, and I don't want to be a dick trying.
Well, this is the thing about the abuse and also the paperwork.
Well, I understand that.
When you gave me paperwork, I filled it out and I brought it back every time. So it wasn't that I didn't do the paperwork. I absolutely did it. The thing is that for the last 3 months, Shelley hasn't, first of all, shown up, and second of all, she didn't find those things, and third of all, she didn't follow through with anything else. I still haven't gotten my bag of money from that.
See, the thing is, what I was trying to explain to him wasn't that he had done anything wrong. We did get some of them done. Whether we only got 2 of them done, 4 of them done, or we got all 6, we filled them out. And I repeated to Shelley every single meeting that she showed up for anyway, which is almost none of them. I offered to fill them out again. And I have recordings of that as well. She gets an attitude and says, well, now that you're willing to work on housing, like, no. No, you do not get to play that. You do not get to play like, just now am I willing to fill out housing paperwork. I filled it out in 2022. Where is it? Well, all I have is intake forms. So all the stuff that I'm needing from these people, I don't have. I do not have. Meanwhile, these people slandered me on paper and in court. They lied about me. They lied to judges. They lied in their paperwork. And then there's no paperwork, apparently. Apparently, there's literally zero paperwork. Just the paperwork that I filled out, the intake forms. Well done. And the evidence that I filled out, 2 extra pieces of paper that were unnecessary because he ended up finding them. All right, so Russell found them. Russell did what he was supposed to with them, he said. Okay, that's fine then. Okay, at least we have evidence that I did it. I have 2 pieces of paper as evidence that I did my part. And according to his words, he did his part. The problem has been that for the last 3 months, this is exactly how it goes every meeting with Shelley. She says that we need to be working on housing. I'm willing to work on housing. Do you want me to fill out more paperwork? She says that she can't find the housing paperwork. She can't find it in my file. She's going to talk to Russell. She's going to look in the emails. Well, 3 months of that, she didn't talk to Russell and she didn't check the emails. According to Russell, they were sent. So he should be able to find them pretty easily. Now, of course, the thing that she keeps on trying to insinuate is that I didn't do the paperwork or that I'm not willing to or I haven't tried, and I absolutely have. Russell is at least, whether he wants to try to cover his own tracks in this or not is arbitrary. At least he's admitting that I did do these things. I did make these efforts. But I've also got other victims of Shelley's who are telling me that she's strung out on heroin. Of course I'm going to bring this to people's attention. I'm not her only victim.
Yeah, I'm still having to wait on that. The guy that I'm staying with, he's being real patient about this, but I told him I was going to try to be out by Christmas. I've got care appointment after care appointment card with Shelley. Most of them she didn't show up for. Some of them have your name on them. That tells me that they probably, one of you probably did show up. That's as nice as I can put it. I've got cards going back for literally years. I've been sent to every service in town, and none of them care if I'm assaulted. Even the places with mandatory reporters, which would be the clergy over at the Seventh-day Adventist Church, I was assaulted on their property repeatedly by Andrew Gomez. I got all sorts of evidence that shows that he's still continuing to break the protection order. He still goes by the house that I'm staying at and yells stuff and throws stuff. And there's multiple other people who do the same thing. Since I'm in the backyard, they can't see me. They don't necessarily know if I'm there or not, which makes it less likely to happen. But these things need to not happen. You know, I shouldn't be threatened, harassed, or intimidated by police officers for trying to turn this in. You know, I'm vulnerable because I'm alone. I'm vulnerable because I don't have a friend or family member. This weekend, I had to rely on a drug addict to help me. The first thing he wanted to do in my tent was smoke his drugs. Obviously, I wasn't okay with that. So, of course, he left. He came back and he was like this the whole time. Now, I'm having to pay this guy to help me to verify this evidence so that I can come in here in half an hour or 45 minutes and try to have somebody who's going to verify that this stuff is true. We did watch a lot of videos. He didn't see that stuff, but I mean, it's molesting and I can't stop that.
Yeah.
And this isn't something that he's trying to hide. This isn't something that, you know, he's afraid of me saying or anything. And he's well aware of it. But there's a situation where those are the kind of people I'm having to depend on everywhere I go. I'm being victimized and moving everywhere. It takes a long time to get yourself established in a temporary address so that you can get yourself a P.O. box so that you can receive mail. I have been forced into homelessness because of a murder I didn't commit. I have been treated like a child molester and a rapist everywhere I go, and the situation with this stuff is not being taken seriously. And every one of these agencies that I have to go to, are so into trying to hide the fact that they screwed up, and that's the thing about the mandatory reporter training. They have two choices when somebody comes in and tells them about a case. One, they can turn it in, or two, they can pretend that the victim is delusional because they don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to lose their job. And all of this is covered in the mandatory reporter training videos. The fact that I'm going to mandatory reporters who are ignoring that, pretending that I'm stupid, and passing me off onto people who aren't mandatory reporters. And the fact that the mandatory reporters also that apparently you guys supposedly have that are peer support workers, and I've been told this since 2022, you have peer support workers here very specifically to help out people specifically in my situation, but instead, I'm not getting sent to those people. And then Melissa is literally, she told the ladies in the office there that they are not to call the police if one of us is being harmed. They are only to call the police if we want to harm ourselves or others, and that is up to them. All right, and I was in that office when she said it. I was sitting right there in the waiting room when she was telling the employees, and Miss Shelley was not there that day. I also had the recording of Miss Shelley right after she had made all those promises where she was gonna help me the way that you were actually helping me. The very next session, she told me she thinks it's horrible and so on and so forth, and was trying to sugarcoat it, but she told me straight up that Melissa is not going to allow her or anybody else to do that. Well, Shelley told me that she is a mandatory reporter, and as far as the mandatory reporter laws go, she has to drop whatever she is doing immediately and turn it in, and she has to make a written report within 24 hours. If I am harmed after trying to turn that in even more, then she can be held liable for that as well. Now, the failure to report is a misdemeanor. One of the things these people,
I'm going to pause here a second. You see that? Yeah, that's mine. That's my hospital paperwork from Colorado. Oh, sorry, to 7/8/2025, because that's when they ordered it, finally. Where was I on 7/8/2025? I was in jail. But that's the history with the injuries to my lumbar vertebrae that they want to leave out and try to have somebody else claim that I'm fine. I'll show you another thing here. This right here, I don't know what I'm allowed to show in it, but it's my arrest record. I brought that in with me. I'd like to show everything in it. I mean, I took a bag that's way too heavy, and I tied it to my belt, and I carried it in there to try to show them what's going on. I mean, the stuff in here, like, for example, this is from my attorney. He didn't do this himself. He had AI do it. Says, ask him to tell you the story beginning to end without interruption. Well, that never happened. So, what about the rest of the instructions? I don't give a shit. I'm not going to go into court and fucking lie. Not for my fucking attorney. Not for a win. Not for fucking nothing. See, turning in this evidence depends on me being honest. As honest as I possibly can at every step. If there's something that I'm wrong about, it means that I have to admit that I screwed up. Immediately. Because we all screw up. But we can't fix the issue while we're pretending that we're perfect. Oh, I could never possibly do anything wrong. Right? Isn't that what we have to deal with? When we have to turn in our bullies. See, this is the problem with these folks that we're supposed to go to that are mandatory reporters. They do a lot of stupid shit that gets us in trouble. Like they want to tell us that we should go to our predators and try to work it out of court. That's kind of like when you're a little kid and they tell you, oh, you're being bullied? Well, you should go to the bully and you should tell him how it makes you feel. Well, bullies work together. Whereas their victims, they pick people who are weak or cowardly. It's pretty obvious I'm not cowardly. I stand up to people that I probably shouldn't. But I also do my best to defuse the situation. And you might have noticed I'm very good at that. Police keep assaulting me. The public keeps assaulting me. And in none of these videos do you ever see me approach a single one of my predators. Not even once.
Example, Sean even said this, and I have that recorded too. He was telling me that it's not their job to investigate, and it's not their job to gather evidence. That's not what I'm asking them to do. I'm asking them to take the allegation seriously, because if it is a, what do you call that? What's the word they use lately? Credible. So I'm having to go to police who broke the law. And obviously, what are they going to do? They're going to pretend that I'm delusional. The paperwork that I brought from TFCC, that me and Shelly had the agreement that I was going to bring it in, and she was going to go over it with me. She never went over it with me. There's also the stuff that I brought you showing that I'm not schizophrenic. Yeah.
By the way, that's in here too. That stuff is in here. There's psychological evaluations. There's my hospital paperwork. There's paperwork from the attorneys. There's also a fucking massive pile of bags and bags of fucking evidence right there. And a massive pile of fucking evidence right there. And more fucking evidence over here. My tobacco. This is full of evidence. I went in carrying this. This is full of evidence. Then, of course, we got a small collection of the cards that we've collected. Yeah, that's right. Sims is actually a really nice guy. I've had multiple people tell me he's a real nice guy. I've been told that he likes to go blasting his music through town and people enjoy it. He's a real fun feller. Well, I'm glad that you guys had that experience. That was not my experience. Now, I went in there. I got all these cards going back for years. Some of these people no longer work there. Most of these people no longer work there. So I interacted with all those people. Where's the stuff in my file with them? There's even more of those too. I've got the whole front pocket of these is full of the appointment cards. And more cards going back for years and years and years and years. Care. Will Chapel, Tides of Change. Here, this one is for Tillamook. This is for Dr. Donnell Boggs. None of these people took this shit seriously. Not one of them. I've been to every service in Tillamook County. They don't fucking care. They don't care. They will help these predators to get away with it. It's the good old boy system. I'm going to end this video and download it. And we'll get started on the next one. Because there's about an hour, well, about 45 minutes left of this video. Oh yes, and remember when I told you that I would show you what the city of Tillamook grievances look like? Yeah, they don't take these. They won't let you. They refuse to. So I got a bunch of blank ones that are fucking moldy. Had a whole stack of them. Of course, who do you turn it into? Everybody says it's not their job. Oh, and there's a big bag of evidence under that too. I mean, it's 2 bags. And then there's, you know, littler bags that are full of important stuff. That's my reality.